Hello and welcome everyone. This is going to be an SOS trade breakdown slash eval. This was our highest percent trade of the day, of our morning. So a little context here is that we had ask at 650 that were above print personality. I would say 2 to 3 times above print personality. They were about 15 to 20 aspirants at 650. I determined our print personality to be around the 5 range for a burst. And we're currently pulling back here. The stock trades in increments of 20 cents. And we know when we get aspirants at a controlling level, we're looking for the market maker to build to pull back the stock. And that's for what we're doing from the 650. That's what we're currently doing. Looking for a pullback from anywhere from the 20 to 30 range. Even a 40-cent pullback would make sense there. So we're just at this point setting up for a number 4 trade. So what a number 4 trade is controlling aspirants at a level. We pull back for the market maker to build, and then we take it long when they trigger it above where their position is, because we know they have to make money on their position. Given 650 is going to be our position. So we're just setting up here, really just waiting for a pattern to build for us to be able to get a good entry. We definitely want to see the buying on this pullback. We want to see the selling slow down. We don't want to see the short-term selling continue to show us that we have extended pullback below 6. That's not ideal case for a number 4 trade. So at this point, we're just looking for the selling to slow and then the buying to step back in. Really kind of a consolidation here. So we'll just wait for that breakout out of this pattern we have here. Preferably we get buying, short-term buying that steps in that we can follow in. But just waiting for the number 4 setup. Looking for a trigger. Preferably the trigger that goes straight through this print line right here at 0.34. And we can use that print line for our stop point, our stop loss. We would be looking at about 15-cent loss, and then we'd be making about 50 cents. This would be our price target. Be looking for a possible trade to 7. So 15 cents risk to a 50-cent reward, using that print line as our advantage. But we need a clear, concise trigger to take long. If not, then we're just going to get a continuation of our pullback. And then we just reevaluate. So a good setup right here for a trigger above this print line right here. Just need that volume to step in. Preferably on this trigger too, we get short-term buying. As such, right there, boom. So I would have taken that trigger. I think we'd be in above this print line here. And we'd use that print line as our stop out point, or just under that print line. The buying definitely stepped in short term on this trigger here. Now we just need to hold and get some continuation. Would like for the volume to wax out of this dip here. So we're in above 40, I would say, would be our entry. And we're just playing defense. We got our stop in our market depth, or our trade manager. We have our entries in. We have our stop out. So let's see if it hits. We're holding that print line perfectly. Now we just need that buying to step in. Looking forward here, we're probably going to get 650 ask, just knowing that the market maker is there on the ask side. So once we do that, we're looking for reactions below and above. So I'm thinking a little bit ahead, and right now we're looking at reactions under, because we want some insight into what's going to happen with 650. Are they going to build, or are they going to push the stock? Are they in the money phase? So some nice buying there. Some more great buying under. Boom. 650 ask, above print personality. Now we're looking for a reaction. You want to get this thing pushed. We don't want them to show that they're going to build some more. We want to break out here. So we're looking for a continued reaction. And it really has been, the reaction above that 650 has been mostly buy. Some more great buying there at 0.60. Yep, that 0.60 definitely shows we can get to 0.75. Just got to be careful. We know we're at a double top area here, and we know that market makers use that to steal retail often. So we're just in our trade here. I wouldn't be limiting exposure too much. You could possibly if you wanted to here. But the reaction above really showed us that if it's going to pull back, it's going to be very quickly. And they already built once, and they showed the reaction above and below was short-term buying. So I don't expect them to build too much. So looking for a little short-term pullback, and then hopefully we get the continuation with our waxing volume. Looking for that continuation in short-term buying. And we know when the market maker is around this position that they're going to play games, so we just got to be mindful of that. 650 is the spot. Some decent buying, nothing that stands out. At per personality buying. We just need a breakout here in terms of volume. Boom. Some more great off-level buying there. .70. Yeah, that's some great buying there, 0.70. We have the buying now to be able to get to 7. Just the volume needs to wax. Boom, 0.80. Yeah, we definitely have the buying to get to 7. So looking forward to 7.2, we're looking for what's the reaction under and above. Most likely we're going to get asked at 7. Ooh, some nice reaction there, 0.85, 0.85. Yeah, we definitely have what it takes to get to 7 here. More gray buying, reaction under. So we're anticipating 7 ask, and what's the print going to 7? It's been all great short-term buying under. So if we print ask at 7, we're going to be looking at reaction above or below. Some selling there, but nothing quite like what we printed on the way up. Not as concerning there. We know we got the short-term buying. That says 7. Some more buying stepping in. So on this push, we're looking for a reaction to what 7 is. Most likely going to be 7 ask. We know we have not pulled back from 650 the second time, so we have to be mindful of that as well. We have to play defense. And if we get asked at 7, it's going to be 2 levels without a proper pullback, so we got to be really mindful of that. And also our volume, we're waxed to what our highest bar of the morning was. We got to be mindful of that as well. How long can that sustain itself? So nice buying under 7. Boom, 7 ask, way above print personality, meaning that odds are they're going to build on that position, and we have to be very careful. If we're long, we have to limit exposure at that 7. That 7 instantly tells us limit exposure. We didn't see much of a reaction above, so I would have limited exposure here, taking some off my trade. Had a stop out point. You pick it. My stop out would probably be 0.75 for the rest of my position. I would have already gotten out of some at 7. So I'll let the rest of my position be able to make a run if the short-term buying continues. But just knowing our 2 levels haven't got a proper pullback, you just have to limit your exposure there. Understanding that the continuation on the push is less and less likely the more levels that they push without a proper pullback for them to build. Some more ask at 7 there. Reaction, some buying, not a ton. Reaction above 7 has not shown or been like the reaction above 650. Our reaction above 650 was all short-term buying. It was great short-term buying. Our reaction above 7 really hasn't been there. Point 10, that's our first reaction there above 7 that really stood out, and really got to be on defense here, even with these reactions, just knowing the two levels that we haven't pulled back from. I'm in my run at this point. I'm just looking for a reason to get out the rest of my position, meaning that they're going to build and they'll give us another entry if we're going to continue a push. If we continue to 750, then great. We let our rest of our position run. Some nice building there, or some nice short-term prints there. 0.18, 720, or nice position. So our action's there. Yeah, stepped in a little late, but reaction is there. Some great short-term buying. Still weary, still on defense, knowing the two levels we haven't pulled back from, and just knowing how smooth this stock is and has been. They have not taken retail shares. We have to be on defense. Just smooth bar after smooth bar, up bar. We just know that when it comes time for market makers to build on what they showed at 7, it's not going to be pretty for retail. And just we don't want to be a part of that. We understand that market makers take money from retail. We understand their spots where they show that they're going to build based upon how much they print. And from there, we just determine how much we're going to take off and kind of let the trade ride. So holding 7 here, but I don't imagine we hold 7 here for very long. Just knowing, boom. I would not be surprised if we get a pullback to that 650 level, just knowing and understanding that market maker was there and they printed building prints that they didn't pull back and build on. So out of the rest of my position here, if they show we're going to go to 750, I believe we'll get another entry here, but no reason to give up the rest of my profits on my position. So I'm out of my long there. Let's just see how this trade works out in terms of if they continue the pullback or they go long. The short-term steps in for us to get a continuation of 750. Right off that print line too at 725. Like, you had to expect that was going to be an obstacle for this. Definitely would be a spot to be looking to take off immediately on that initial push. So now that we're kind of just in this pullback here, we would be out. Now we're just looking to set up our next trade. We know we have ask at 7, so preferably we pull back like we are now, boom. And then we set up for another long number 4 trade. But in this case, not really seeing much buying stepping in, and that's kind of our long trade is. Excuse me there. Our long trade is over. I would have shorted it if I could. If I had shares, I would have taken a shot short. I know I would have got out of my runner first, but just knowing we have 2 levels without a pullback. Usually the more levels you have without a pullback, the higher percentage the short trade is or the pullback is. And just knowing that allows you to maximize your longs too, just understanding that they haven't built from these levels, the 2 levels, and the further it gets away, the larger the pullback's going to be, and we don't want to give up that profit. And we know it was looking too pretty. We know they were going to steal retail. Some nice short-term buying stepping back in. But overall, yeah, you'd be out of your long trade now. And we're kind of just in consolidation now, so we don't want to be involved in this in terms of being in a trade long at all. Looking for an entry here is just not ideal. Ideally, we pull back to 750, and then we set up for number 4 trade again, back to 7. Because that money at 7 still has not... 20 cents for how much they printed at 7 was not enough. So we're just resetting here for another long, allowing them to pull back, allowing them to steal shares, and then we just find our long position. I believe that's the end of my recording, or we're coming to the end of recording. hopefully that helps explain some of my mindset. I feel like with these videos, my mindset's kind of getting repetitive in terms of market makers, controlling prints, our number 1 through 4 trades, and then our reaction, so our off-level reaction under, our off-level reaction above. I feel like they're getting pretty repetitive to show you guys a theme here in terms of tape reading, how we understand when a stock's going to get pushed instead of build, when it's money time for a market maker, and when a pullback is more likely due to them not building it from a few levels. So they all definitely seem to be having a theme here. So I hope you guys take some information away from it. Thank you all for listening. Appreciate it. Take care.